is this what I want to start with? This is what I want to start with. The whole game is predicated on you having to be able to submit screenshots of your completion of the various tasks on the board in a way that is valid. There are a lot of ways that will empower you to do that properly without as much thinking necessary. And so we're going to go through some of those. So what constitutes a valid screenshot? You need to have either the client event plugin displaying the password or the date and time showing, which also can be done through the client event plugin, or the password typed into the chat box. In addition to that, you want a full client screenshot. I saw a question, the outside bar I don't think absolutely has to be in the screenshot, but your entire game window should be in there. You can achieve that in, and then note that some tiles have more requirements, and you'll be shown either by me or by Nice One how to find those additional requirements, so to make sure that you have captured all the information necessary. So the easiest way to do this is to download and set up the clan event plugin. When I turn this on and I set it up, I have an option to display things on my screen, and they just appear in a window, and that's just constantly on my screen. So if I get any drop, my password is already on there, the time is on there, and it shows that I got the drop during the bingo. You do not have a password yet. The password will be announced in 13 hours when the event starts. When it's finished, you will type it in here. If the password is password, I can do that, and that'll update in my window. You can move this around by, Alt right click, or Alt click, and then Alt right click can reset it. If you are playing on mobile, and you don't have this, what you will do is type the password into your chat box, and again take a full screenshot of the game screen. Another thing that you can do to secure it is there is the report button plugin, and so the way I have the date displayed over here on the report button is an option in this plugin. So that's available to you too. Okay, you can have, actually before we look at the screenshots, let's look at what good things are to do to trigger a chat box message, because these are the messages we're going to be looking at to know that you got the drop that you got. So for that, you would go into the in-game settings. You can go to chat, and here are some things that are useful for you to enable. You want collection log, new edition notifications. So I'll give you a pop-up and a chat box message. Loot drop, something. Don't ask me why, but this is just how I play with 1,000 coins. Giving me a chat box message. I don't know. Skim the board. Set something that's gonna make you be able to live with yourself, but capture things that are maybe where their value maybe isn't as monetary as it is something else. You want untradables on, and there's another option for combat achievement tasks, repeat completion. This one is going to be vital. So once you have those set up, you can be reasonably confident that things that actually create chat box messages are going to happen, and you don't have to think about it. Now, in order to actually, now you can have it save a screenshot of these when, is it just, my notes, screenshot. In the screenshot plugin, you have all these options, and again, some of the good things to check is rewards are going to be important. You definitely want pet, boss kills. This is all up to you. Valuable drops with a threshold is another way. Is kind of comparable. I don't typically play with this on. I trust myself to just take the screenshot, but you could, and that would be a nice safety net. Untradables, sea logs you absolutely want. Combat achievements you absolutely want. Alternatively, and then the way you find this, or the way you take a screenshot yourself, is clicking the take screenshot button if you're on Moonlight. The way you access it later is you right click it, and an open screenshot folder, and it will open your your system browser directly to the folder where your screenshot is. Okay, so this is how you configure your game to get the information you need on the screen for the screenshot that you will need, as well as taking that screenshot, and you'll be submitting those in Discord in a way we'll look at in a minute. The other thing that I wanted to show is once again, it can be kind of a nice safety net to have. I've done this before in bingos. Almost never was it needed, but once or twice it was, and it was really nice to have. If I am about to go work on a tile that requires a drop that I've already gotten, something that I can do is go to my collection log, go to the content, and take, again, a full client screenshot. You can use the camera icon to take a screenshot. And this shows that I have 8 crystal armor seeds. So if I go and now grind Corrupted Gauntlet and I get a drop, somehow I missed the chat box message, somehow I DC'd, I don't know what happened. In 2 days from now, I could go in and I could open that collection log, and it's going to show a 9 here. And so if I have them side by side, they both have the event password, I can demonstrate that I did this during bingo. So that's just kind of a nice thing to have in your back pocket if you're going to be working on something hard and rare. Like, I've never been like, damn, I wish I didn't have that information before. Okay. So moving on from here, being able to navigate to the information that you need. I'm gonna, and I think most of you were able to find this on your own. Bear with me, I'm gonna change my streaming window. I'm streaming Discord. Am I streaming Discord?
You're good.
Thank you. Okay, so the announcement went out. The board came out. You have your kind of 3 bread and butter documents in here. You have the standing spreadsheet, and it's kind of like all the tasks on all the tiles at a glance, as well as your progress. The rules document, which outlines the gameplay and a lot of the suggestions that I made so far within the game. And the requirements on how to submit a screenshot. and the tile descriptions. So any additional information that's needed, for any of the tiles. And nice one, did you want to go through some examples of that, or should I give a couple of examples of the tile validation info?
You can go through a couple examples right now.
Alright, let's do that. So they appear in here. Captains who are listening, if you feel like in your submission channel going through and creating if you want to create a post that has them in there, you can do that. Though from my experience, it's probably going to get drowned out by your submission threads anyway. So I think what we're going to do is just pin this that way. Alright, so switching screens again. I have all these windows open on my computer. Okay. What's the aspect ratio? Alright, so this is let's do it this way. So here is the sheet. This is the master tracking sheet. You guys can view this, you cannot edit it. And that is on purpose. So here we have, so this is kind of going to be the at a glance so that you can get real-time-ish information, as much as manual updating will allow, of how you are doing with respect to other teams. So in here are everything of what the tiles are, what you rolled, kind of where you're on, and what tiles you've submitted, and when a tile was actually validated by somebody on the hosting team. And so that's how you know that you can sort of stop worrying about it. You also have the region buffs, which nice one we'll talk about later, and tracking whether you complete them. If you want kind of an organized way to track your own stuff, you can create an editable version of this by going to File, make a copy, and that copy will be something that you own, and if you want you can delete all the other tabs that aren't your team, and just kind of edit it to suit your own needs, if that is something that you find helpful. The other document is the rules document. So you see it starts off with some of this information that I gave you. So this is where you find it if you weren't sending it up along with me, or and this is how you'll remember how to go back and actually put in the password once you know what it is in 13 hours. So all that information is captured here, as well as the rules and the actual gameplay. Over here is if you land on a tile, if there's any information that's needed to, special requirements or anything like that, or clarifiers, they're going to be in here. If you think you've found a loophole, you have not found a loophole. If you're clever, you're going to be cleverly doing the tile again. So if you're not sure about something, ask. We're not infallible. It's possible we overlooked something. We've tried to capture everything in here, but a couple of you have already noted some ambiguities. So if you're not sure about something, please ask. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. So these are the main three documents that you're going to need. The other thing that's going to be important is your submission channel within within your little team section. Switching again. So far you have something that looks like this. You have a channel for the dice rolls. This is where we'll track your progress on the board. This channel needs to be kept pristine. Nice one will talk about the rolling mechanics when he gets to it. The next one is this. When you have the free tile, this is going to be kind of like your free tile bank account. And so this is where you're going to redeem them, and this is where we'll basically be updating your balance. So it'll be a back and forth between that with a tally of how many free tiles you have. Here is going to be the repository of anything that you might be able to cash in on later, because you are allowed to bank progress, or as I like to call it, is that a tile? And so over here, things that could count is like, this is where you would drop in screenshots in a qualifying way that we discussed that may come into benefit in a future tile that you roll, and then they can be pulled from here later into the actual submissions. Your team captains, when you land on a tile, are going to create an additional post in here to house all the evidence for completion of that tile. Do not talk in these posts. Do not talk in these posts. Don't talk in these posts. No conversation in these posts. Only the screenshots, and you can always link a message and talk about it in your team discussion channel. There is a very heavy burden of validation in this game, and our team is going to do our best. But the sooner we can validate your tiles, and the easier that is for us, the sooner you can forget about your prior tile coming back and its potential to come back to haunt you, and focus on forward progress. So the easier it is for us to find the information, the better it's going to be for all of us. So, for right now, I think that's it. And I will turn it over to Nice One, and let's talk about the game.
All right.
I'll stream his stream as well in just a moment.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to be streaming as he... Oh, but he's on PC now.
Yeah, I'm on PC now. I can stream.
Cool.
And I'm going to stream my entire screen at the risk to myself. Let's see.
We might learn things we don't want to learn about Nice One.
That's sketchy.
I do play Minecraft.
Did you read 263?
Okay. Let's, yes, I have. So, I'm going to try to take you guys through, like, the played experience of how the game is going to roll out, and try to hit on some fringe cases, or go through how I think you should address some things, how you should use some of the mechanics. So there's a lot of freedom in here to strategize. I'm sure some of you already have the wheels turning in your head. If there are free tiles that you can use, and there are drops that you can bank, there's ways that you can kind of combo and get through big chunks of the board all at once. Obviously, that's up to you guys how you want to play it, but I'm going to go through how you would start and maybe where you would end up in some spots, and also, like Squeak was saying, the mechanics, the specifics of some things like the free tiles. So tomorrow at 8 in the morning at Central, everybody is going to be on the start tile, and when we drop the password, everybody's going to be clear to start their first roll. So as Squeak mentioned, you're going to do that through the Discord, so you're going to have the dice rolls. And again, no talking in these channels. The reason we don't want you talking in these channels is because we are going to use these to validate that you actually completed the board in the way that it was supposed to be completed. So if you've ever played bingo, every time somebody yells bingo, there's a pause, you validate that all the numbers and letters are correct, and then you can actually crown a winner. We're doing the same thing here. We're not going to take your word for it, so we need to have a good history of what happened during the bingo, which tiles you did, what rolls you had, and all of it needs to add up. So it's very important that you don't talk in these channels. Sometimes people get excited and you guys roll a 3 and you're like, fuck yeah, but just please keep the chatter to a minimum. Just leave it to rolls on these channels. Moving back over to the board. So again, everybody is going to roll at the moment the event starts. Team captains or whomever is online, I know because the hours might be a little weird for some of y'all. Whoever can roll, whoever you delegate to do the first roll, you're going to do that, and that is going to be your first tile. So from here, there are the first tiles to complete a Barrow set, complete a Blood Moon set, or complete 3 rings from the Dagonoth Kings. Let's say, for example, I roll a 2. That is where I'm at currently. There's no re-rolling. There's no like, oh, we don't really like that content, so we're just gonna do something else. Like, that is the tile that you're on. You can do the regional tasks, which are what these are available for. They were introduced so that you could do some other content during the bingo. If maybe you're not equipped or you don't like the tile that your team is on, you're welcome to do these other things. So for the first region, the regional task is to collection log a quiver or an infernal cape. And these regional tasks are how you are going to earn your free tiles. So in the last bingo, it was a 25 or a 5x5, 25 tiles. We had the option as a team to pick 1 tile that we just do not do, but we get credit for. The free tiles are similar, but there's a caveat. You don't get to roll the dice after you use them. So mechanically, the way to move forward, you get another roll of the dice whenever you actually complete the tile that you're on. So if we're on tile 2 and we don't have any free tiles because it just started, the only way forward is to complete this tile. We need to complete, get screenshots for, submit a full Blood Moon set from a single Blood Moon, and then we can progress. On that note, when it comes to submitting the tiles, your captains and co-captains are going to be responsible for doing a once-over for some of the screenshots, and this is a message to captains and co-captains. If there's anything wrong with the screenshots that your team members are submitting, and there's a query that one of the admins or bingo hosts is going to deny that screenshot, that's your responsibility to tell the person to take the screenshot again, and if they're already gone and it's not going to be a good screenshot, tough luck. So this is why it's really important for everybody to understand what a complete screenshot is, what a good screenshot is, because if you miss the boat on that, you got to go do it again, and we really don't want to tell you to do that. So let's say we do it properly, we validate everything, or rather we submit everything, but it's not validated by an admin. Once you have all the submissions in for a full Blood Moon set, again, just using the example of tile 2, you can go back and roll again in this channel. So we can see, your first roll was a 2, and then let's say you roll again and it's a 3. So I go back to the board, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm here at this tile. I think this is the tile to get orbs from Vardorvis, one of the bosses, whatever it may be. That is our next task. So once you roll the dice and you're on that tile, everybody can start working on that tile. As far as progressing goes in completing tiles, Squeak mentioned, and there's a channel for submitting possible future tiles. My recommendation to you is that when you get drops, to submit them to here so you have those screenshots banked, and that you can, if you run into something later, you can submit those. So an example might be, we are doing Tombs of a Masket or Chambers of Zarek for a purple. You might end up getting something like Perfect Wardens or Perfect Olm. Combat achievements are a tile on the board for one of those raids, so it's good to just bank those and hold on to them for later.
Can I interject real quick? I would like
Sure.
to make a recommendation for your guys' own curating purposes, because this is probably going to add up. Put a keyword of text in with your screenshot so that it's searchable later by you or your captaining team.
Good shout. And again, it's not going to be on us as the bingo hosts or admins to validate whatever is in that tile bank. Nothing in that tile bank is going to be committed or considered a submission. This is just for you guys screenshots so that you don't have to keep them or you know, you don't have to have one guy like your captain keep them on their hard drive or something. Like they're all just there, so everybody kind of knows what's banked and what's not. So however you choose to track it in this channel, if you guys want to post a screenshot and be like, banking this CA in case we get the TOA tile, like Squeak said, just put that context there for your own understanding. Really how you use that channel is up to you, but the mechanism of what that channel is for is the same for everybody. If you get a drop, you're not on that tile, you're welcome to use it. And the reason that that's there is because there's a lot of content on here, and I personally don't like the idea of, hey, we were on this tile for TOA, now we have to go back to TOA when we kind of already did that thing in the example that I used, the combat achievements. So you are given that freedom, and again, that's a responsibility as much as it is a privilege. Like if we catch you trying to duplicate screenshots and saying, oh, we got this drop back here, but it's actually new, like, and we catch you doing that, we're going to snap you all the way back to where that faulty screenshot came from. So don't try to find any loopholes with that. Again, it's a privilege as much as it is a responsibility. Talking or moving on to the regional tasks. So I want to address the first thing. These tasks can be done at any point in the bingo. So the task for collection logging, an infernal cape, or a quiver, those are first, so naturally most people are going to be able to do them or may do them at the very beginning. There are the second challenge is to get either an enhanced crystal weapon seed or a dragon warhammer, and then, you know, all the way towards the end you have one of the mega rares. Those can be captured at any time, but there's a difference between completing that challenge and being able to use the benefit from that challenge. So every 20 tiles, there's the map is broken up into a region. So 1 through 20, 21 through 40, so on and so forth. If we complete the challenge, like let's say we get a crystal weapon seed, an enhanced crystal weapon seed, and we're on tile 15. That's something to celebrate about. We've just completed that regional task, so we've got 3 free tiles that we can redeem later, but we cannot use them until we are on tile 21 or higher. The reason for that is that we don't want you to start on tile 1, go grab up all of the regional challenges. I don't think anybody would do that, but even if you could, or if you did, let's say, you'd just be able to jump all the way to 15. So they're going to unlock as you get further down the board, but you can do them at any time. And again, the reason being, it's similar to the logic behind banking drops. If you get a scythe down over here in the earlier sections, like let's say you're not in region 4 yet and you get a scythe, that would really, really suck if it didn't count towards anything. That's why these challenges are open to being captured at any point in the board. You know, like let's say we want to do CMs for the Chambers Purples and we get Dust, you can capture that for region 5, but you won't be able to use those free tiles until you hit tile 81. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. As far as the free tile mechanics go, you can only gain free tiles, they do not expire. So you have the restriction of only being allowed to use the ones you've unlocked once you reach that region or beyond, but those do not expire once you get out of that region. So let's say my team does the region 1 and region 2 tasks. As soon as we cross over from tile 40 to tile 41, we can still use those free tiles whenever we'd like. Okay? Again, they do not expire. There's no urgency to use them. The only restriction on the access to them is you have to be in the region to actually get them, assuming you've completed the challenge for that region. The way the free tiles are going to work is that whenever you want to use them, this is a place where you would have the free tile submissions for the regional challenges and let us know that you want to progress using those free tiles. And again, they're like a bank. You need to have access to them. You need to be in the region where you've unlocked them or beyond to have them in the first place. But you can pull from them like a bank in any quantity that your team would like. So let's say I get over here to tile 52 and I have 9 free tiles banked because I've done all region 1, 2, and 3's tasks. I can jump 9 tiles, I can jump 5, I can jump 3. I can use any amount of those I want at a time. And the way that those work, as far as progressing you through the board, is they will push you forward 1 tile, each of those. So you could think of completing a regional challenge as getting a guaranteed roll of 3. But you get to use that amount, or you get to use those tiles or push forward past those tiles whenever you want. So let's say I'm on 52, I've got 9 tiles banked, and I want to use 4. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm now on tile 56. To roll the dice again, I now need to complete the challenge on tile 56. And a question you may have, well, let's say we have free tiles, we rolled the dice, and we start working on a tile, and we realize, you know what, it's really not for us. Can we still use our free tiles, or do we need to let an admin know before we start? You are welcome to use your free tiles at any point. So if you want to make an attempt at a tile before you use that resource, you're welcome to do that. There's no time limit on those. Again, they don't expire, and there's no limit to using them other than needing to be in the region or past it from where you unlocked it. I'm thinking I hit everything as far as progressing. When it comes to the end of the board, if a team manages to get to the end, the winning team is going to be the first team to land on the end tile. There's no surprise challenge, there's no secrets. So if I'm on tile 98 and I roll a 3, I go 1, 2, 3, I land on the end tile, I'm done. The game is over. As far as the challenges on each of the individual tiles goes, I want to elaborate a little bit more on the tile validation. When you're playing the bingo, when your team moves to a new tile, you should be both looking at this board, if you want to use this as a visual aid, but more importantly, you should be looking at this tile validation sheet to understand what it is that you need to be doing. Again, the submissions need to be as accurate as possible, so that's one thing. The second part of that is your submission needs to actually be relevant to what it is that you're doing. So let's say that I come over here and I am on tile 35 and I see, oh, Missouri body picture. Then I go to TOA and I get a Missouri body and I'm like, oh, we're done. That's not it. You need to go down to 35 and make sure you're doing whatever it is that's actually on that tile. So all of the tiles, because some of the descriptions were so long, there's more information here to clarify and hopefully address some of those common questions you may have. So, like this one, for example, claim 2 echo crystals from the Fortis Coliseum. You don't need to complete the run. It can be 2 at a time. If you get a drop of 3, you can claim 2, and if there happen to be another echo crystal tile later, you can bank that. Just read these descriptions and understand that what you're doing is actually moving forward or making progress on that tile. The ones that I want you to pay particular attention to are the combat achievement tiles, for the reason that there are specific combat achievements that do not qualify. Generally, kill count CAs are not going to qualify, for the reason that everybody has the option to repeat them. Getting the kill count CAs is not something that's repeatable. And like, let's say there's a 100 KC challenge and you get to 200 KC, you don't then get to submit that. Everybody's going to be at various kill count numbers right now, so those are not factored into the total.
If this seems
And also,
really overwhelming and confusing, just before you start working on a tile, just talk to the readers on your team and make sure that you're doing things the right way.
exactly. So again, do not take the image of the tile as the end-all be-all and what you need to be doing. It is just a suggestion or like a visual aid to tell you, hey, this is like what kind of content you're going to. So, you know, like I see an Infernal Cape on 92, I think Inferno. See a Fire Cape, I think Jad or the Fight Caves. That does not mean go get a fire cape and you're done. Like, there's a specific description And this is meant to be used in tandem with the board. So whenever you roll and get to a tile, the first thing I'm going to be doing as a player, and you should be doing too, is going down saying, okay, we landed on tile 87. Let's go down to 87 and look. 87 is 3 Zora uniques. Scales, teleports, and onyxes do not count. Okay. If it's in the description, most things are called out clearly in the description. We tried not to be super verbose. Does the pet, do the mutagens count? Yes. The uniques are collection logs. If they are not included or they do not count, they will be called out here everywhere. And on that note, there are some pieces of content where a pet counts as a unique and other pieces of content where it does not count as a unique, for example. So you need to pay attention to this page and what counts and what doesn't count. Because you're going to be really heartbroken when you get Dragon Throne Axes from Hydra, leave Hydra, and go dump the task and realize that those Dragon Throne Axes are not considered a Hydra unique. So again, just to reiterate it one more time, throughout most of bingo, this should be open on your computer. At any point that you're pushing through the board and you're on these tiles and you have questions, please, please, please ask. There is a lot of content on here. There were a lot of tiles to try to clearly call out what qualifies and what doesn't. As Squeak said, there may be some things that we missed. So if there's any ambiguity, please just ask. That seems to me like everything I wanted to cover. Squeak, can you give me a sanity check? Does that look good?
We need to demo how to do a dice roll. Go to your Discord pings. I pinged you in a test channel and demonstrate how to use the dice roll command, please, all the way at the bottom. Oh, yeah, I don't know where you put it.
We are all the way at the bottom.
Go into this. Okay. You've got the submissions in there. Just demo how to use the dice roll command for everybody, please.
Okay, so this is also in the document if you're curious later. The command for rolling the dice needs to be very specific because we're telling the bot how much to roll. Like if we just do exclamation point roll, that is not going to work. Well, it'll roll by a default range, but that's not what we're operating off of. And if I say roll something between 1 and 3, it's going to give me something wrong. So I need to do exclamation point roll 1-3. And then it's going to spit out a roll. Whatever you get, this is your current task. So let me just queue up a bunch of rolls. I'll show you. I might be lagging a little bit. Okay, so I roll a 3. Yeah, and just wait for the bot to respond. Sometimes either your connection is slow or the bot's connection is slow. I think my connection's slow. So let's just roll again. Rolls a 1. So I rolled a 1, a 3, a 1, and a 1. Damn, that kind of sucks. So let's see. If I were on the start, I would go 1. I'd be on tile 1. My next roll is a 3. I'd go 1, 2, 3. I'd be on tile 4. And then a 1 and a 1. So I'd go 5 and 6. That's the way that you progress. So the process, again, to take it from the very top, is at the very moment bingo starts, you're going to be able to roll. Whatever tile you land on, that's the task you need to complete. Go run out, complete whatever challenge, get whatever drop. Make sure you have the correct screenshots. Come up to the Discord, and then you're going to submit those things in your submissions channel. You can proceed by going back to the Dice Rolls channel and rolling again, and admin will come back and validate. Hopefully, your submission was good.
Tag bingo host with when you've completed a tile and you're submitting. That way we know to come look for it.
Good shout. Let's say, all those things are good. We're kind of cleaning up behind y'all, so you don't have to stop and wait for us to proceed on the board. So let's say the submission's good. You can continue on. You complete the second task that you have or whatever tile you got to second, you make those submissions. You can go roll the dice. If there's anything wrong, I'm not sure if Squeak mentioned this, but if she did, I'm calling it out again. If there's anything wrong with the submission, so let's say using the same example of what I just did, so I rolled a 1, a 3, and then a 1 and a 1. Let's say I'm on tile 6, and I'm currently working through that, but my tile submission for 1 is wrong. There's something that the admins believe is faulty, whether that be your name wasn't in the screenshot, we can't tell if it was actually done during the bingo, we can't tell that you actually just got the drop because there's no chat message or anything. We will drag you all the way back to this tile, and you will lose all of the progress for these tiles that you submitted. This is not going to be something where it's like, oh, just go back to that tile, clean it all up, iron it all out, and then you can go back to where you were. No, we will drag you all the way back to this tile if there's something wrong with your submission. This is why we are telling you over and over and over again, it is paramount that you get your submissions correct. We really do not want to do that. I know some of you are very efficient. You could even get really lucky and rip through a lot of these tiles before the admins have a chance to come look behind you and validate these things. We'll try to do that as much as possible, but there's no promises because there's a lot of submissions going on. But if we find something wrong with the submission, we will not hesitate to take away all the progress and tell you to go back to the tile that the faulty submission was from and complete it again.
That being said, your hosting team is going to be working hard to keep up with your validations. Hopefully no more than part of the day goes by before your tiles are validated. But obviously if and this is especially going to be true for the Euro people who are mostly not here, they're sleeping. If all of us are sleeping, nobody's going to validate your tile until somebody wakes up. So that's mostly or if you knock 5 of them out in quick succession, and there might be a little bit of a backlog, but the turnaround, you should be able to expect a relatively good turnaround time.
This is also why we are asking for co-captains and captains to step up and take the responsibility of just being the first line of defense against a bad submission. If you're a captain or co-captain, please just, if you're online and you can look at it, just take a moment to make sure that everything is straight on the submission. Because when we get to validating that tile, we are not going to stop and interview you and ask you what went wrong. It's just getting tossed. There's too much to validate. There's too much to go off of. We can't spend a ton of time spinning our wheels over one person's submission. So it's a zero tolerance policy this time around. If I recall correctly from last bingo, there was some reasonable leniency. We were able to say, because there were so few submissions, okay, yes, we can all vouch for this. We were all in voice chat. We were all in the raid together. We had backup for those kinds of things. We are not going to bother this time around.
Okay, we've been in VC for 45 minutes already. I want to get through all of the questions that were brought up in that thread. Nice one. Do you want to answer these? You want me to answer them? How do you want to go?
Yep, I'll go ahead and answer some of these. I'll just go down the list. And
we will take the answers to these questions and consolidate them, put them in the FAQ channel for after the fact. So this information is going to be available. And then again, we're recording this. I'll upload it to YouTube. So all of this information is still going to be available to you guys after this event is over.
Okay. So I'm just going to go from the top and read some of these off. You guys, if you want to just tune away from the stream, I'll be reading the question out loud so you can get clarity on what my answer is too. Is this a question? If I'm in?
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm in Region 3, can I finish Region 1's task and get the 3 free tiles? Yes. So you can retroactively complete a regional task. Again, those regional tasks are available throughout the entire bingo. The only restriction is capturing using the free tiles from them. You can capture them, but you can't use them until you get to that region or beyond. But you can go back and do it later if you want. Next question from Griff is, if I have a quiver on my main account and I get the collection log on the iron, is that region task completed? Yes. The answer is yes. So long as it is a new collection log on the account that you are on and is in bingo, that does qualify. If you are a main signed up for bingo and you go do it on your iron, that does not count. Similar version of the question that was asked first. If I get an enhanced crystal weapon seed on day 1 of the bingo, does it count for the region task even though we are not in that region? Yes. Regional Tile 4, Twisted Bow, Scythe, Tunic, and Shadow. It is one of the 3.
I have edited the document that was spin as bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's a tall order for a team of 14 or 15 to get 3 mega rares. So if you land 1, you're in the money. If I get a Holy Elixir day 1 and wind up rolling that tile, will I be able to use that drop? Yes. Again, the tile banking works that if you have a submission that has not already been used, I don't know why you would be at Corp on the first day unless you're on a Corp tile, but let's say you really need to blow off some steam and Corp is the unlucky victim, you are going to be able to submit that later. Again, assuming it has not already been submitted, you cannot like use the same Magic Fang drop from Zulrah on all 3 tiles, obviously. Do I need to be, in a similar vein, do I need to be on a relevant tile to store a drop? For example, our team lands on a Pharaoh Scepter and I don't want to do Pyramid Plunder. Can I do TOA and hope we land on a tile for it? Can you stack combat achievement points? Yes to both of them. So if you are doing TOA, again, if you're on the tile to do TOA for purples from TOA, and your team racks up some really nice combat achievements on the way there, and they qualify from the bounds of the tile validation, absolutely you can use those. So let's say we complete Insanity, we complete Perfect Z-Back, or Perfection of Frondus, like those will count. If you screenshot them properly and keep them in your back pocket by using the proper channels, yes. Does the region task for a quiver or Inferno collection log mean it has to be a first cape or quiver? Yes. It does not have to be a person first, it has to be an account first. Can we use points stored at Volcanic Mine or Temporos for the Dragon Pick / Harpoon? Yes. There is no way really for us to reasonably validate like what point totals you have and don't have. Honestly, if you have points stacked up at Volcanic Mine, congratulations, you've just scored your team a big advantage. That was not one of the things I would have expected people to stack, but if you have them, you can use them. Next question, does the Godsword Blade tile include the hilt? No, it does not. But there are tiles for the hilt, I believe, that are separate from the blade. So if you go to farm the blade and you happen to get another unique, remember to bank that. Do we begin on tile 1 or by rolling to a starting tile? You are going to roll to a starting tile. You will not begin on tile 1. So if you hate barrows, pray that you don't roll a 1. Some tiles are labeled purples and others require uniques. Which tiles require uniques to be distinct and which do not? I.e., tile 6 is called Tob Purples versus tile 34 called Tob Uniques. Tile 4 for Zulrah Unique states the uniques don't need to be distinct, but that is omitted from tile 14.
So what happened here is that Squeak started this document, and then Squeak went to work, and then Spin finished the document, and Squeak is more verbose than Spin.
Gotcha. So some of that may just be syntax. The purples, this is a good example of the tiles where like pets may count and not count. If it says purples, that is quite literally an item that you pull out of a chest with the purple light on it, or whatever light you have now to represent a rare drop. So if I open up a white chest and a pet comes out, that's a unique, but it's not a purple. Congratulations, you've just finished a regional tile anyway, or a regional task, but that's not going to count towards that for purples.
All of the raids uniques are from purple chests. That is it. And they can be dupes. You can get 2 Avernix and use the 2 Avernix to complete one of the top tiles.
Yeah, a funny way to say it, what would that be? all purples are uniques, but not all uniques are purples. Yeah. Okay, next question. Let me try to get through this kind of quick. So for the Blood Moon set, was dupe protection in mind for this? I think I went over this earlier. Yes, you can target farm for certain sets. So if you get 2 to 3 pieces into the Frost Moon and you need that last one, you can just kill the Frost Moon boss and keep collecting the loot to try to get that last piece.
Geel is saying that his team is going to be at a disadvantage because he's already got 2 of the 4 uniques from one of the bosses, so he's ineligible to get, for example, the Blood Moon top because he's already got it until he circles back around to the Blood Moon piece again. It's a mechanic of how the drops work there.
Right.
He's asking, can the tile instead be get 4 pieces of a Blood Moon set and not get the full Blood Moon set? I think he's.
I mean, on the other hand, my understanding is if you're farming all the bosses, it rolls through the bosses sequentially, or does it prioritize completing a full set before giving you the loot for the other ones?
If you're killing all 3 bosses, you are eligible for a unique from any of the 3 bosses. If you have already gotten the Blood Moon top, you are ineligible to get the Blood Moon top until you have completed a full set, and then you will get the Blood Moon top again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of it from the perspective of like, if you look at it that way, if you're killing all 3 bosses and you already have some of the log completed, you're forced to get the other pieces, and you're kind of restricted from that. So, I mean, with that mechanic, there's not a great way to do it. Like, in Geel's case, there are some people on the team who may have already filled those slots, and so the dupe protection is still in effect. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can target farm and that there's more than likely already people on the team that have either completed the log or not completed the log, I really don't think that's a big issue. I think it may be a disadvantage for like an individual player, but I think like overall the teams, I think that should be fine. Okay, Spin posted. Sorry, I heard somebody interject. Was there a comment that someone wanted to make, or something that someone was trying to ask?
I misclick unmuted.
Gotcha.
That's about it.
Cool.
Okay, so Spin asked, for the raid purples, do the drops have to be in my name, or can I raid with people outside of my team? And if we get a perp there, will it count? Absolutely not. It has to be in your name or somebody from your team's name. You're welcome to raid with your friends, but they won't be your friends after they snipe your purple, especially if it's a mega rare, so would not recommend doing that. How do we roll the dice if our captains are both asleep? If both of your captains are asleep, please discuss amongst yourself who is going to roll. If we wake up and find 5 people, we're so excited to get to the next channel, the next tile, that they all went to the channel and typed !roll 1 to 3. We're not going to have a good time because we're going to be trying to sort out which role you guys took, and we really don't want to have to tell you to go back if there's a problem. So just if the captains are not online, discuss with whomever else is online. A default rule that I would roll by is if your captains are not on, the person to roll should be the person that submitted the last drop that completed the tile you are currently on, if that makes sense. So if I just got that last piece of Guthans that completes that 4-piece set and my captains are not online, I should be the one to roll. Because hopefully in the 2 minutes between me submitting and me rolling, I haven't disappeared. So that's my recommendation. Just please do not spam the channel. Figure it out amongst yourselves who's going to roll if your captains aren't on. Excuse me, my water tried to kill me. If this bingo doesn't first. So, does it really need to be full client or just game screen? It can be just the game screen, so I think I have my RuneLight client open. Yep. So, just please make sure this, if you're gonna just do the game screen, just include everything within this window, corner to corner. Let me log in real quick so I can give you an example. I do not want to see any cropped screenshots. So I think you guys can still see my screen. I really do not want to see, and you can see this box that I'm highlighting, I really don't want to see a screenshot like this. where if I don't know if you can see the border that I'm highlighting right now, like my RSN is kind of in it. The time is not in there. The password's kind of in it. Like I'm in the chat log for the clan. I'm not in the game chat. Just please, please, please. The easiest thing to do is to just click this button. It takes a full screenshot. If you want to crop it after because you have private information over here, like your email that you use to log into RuneLight, you're welcome to crop that out. Just take a full client screenshot and figure it out from there. And on that note, I would highly recommend, if you're not sure about a submission, if the drop is on the ground or there's a CA or whatever that you're doing and you need to scramble, just try to correct things like getting the game chat open and then taking the screenshot. If you have a moment to kind of hang out and make sure that you can get the screenshot proper, I would do that. You know, like let's say you get the collection log quiver, just keep the screen open, keep everything open, post it, check with your captain, make sure it looks okay, and then you can move on. That's the best and safest course of action. Okay. To add on to this, it leads to scenarios where if no one's doing the content, add items, there'd be no teamwork involved, and the time wouldn't be completed until one person got the full set themselves, since there's a preference in the order of drops. Again, I feel like I covered that talking about the tile. The dupe protection kind of leads to a funky mechanic with the perilous moons, but I think between the 14 or 15 people on each team, you should be able to collection log or get dupes of the pieces for a full set or a full blood moon without issues.
If we've already covered something, we're probably good to like just move on. We've had people in VC for an hour already.
Yep, I know people are probably getting a little squirrely. If a team finishes, does the bingo end, or do the other teams keep fighting to see who becomes second or third? Great question. Keep going.
There's prize money for the top 4 teams, so 4 teams at least need to finish the board.
Yep. How do I set my... We already went over that. Can I do X... Okay, this is a question I've seen a lot. Can I do X tile on my Iron Man instead of my main account? Nope. If you're not signed up on the Iron Man or whatever alt account, you cannot do it on that account. The only drops that qualify are the ones coming from accounts registered for bingo. Our captain's the only one who can claim the free tile? Yes. That is up to them. Hopefully it's a team decision, but yes, they're the ones that ultimately have the discretion to let us know. So, G Blance asks, so I complete a regional task, I get 3 free tiles, my understanding. I can use one of those 3 free tiles to skip the tile I'm on, say the full Blood Moon set. If so, where would we move? Do we just roll again? No, you move forward 1 tile. If you use 1 free tile, you have to complete a task, or you have to complete the tile that you're on to get another dice roll. You don't get to skip 3 tiles, then roll again. Can you bank free tiles to end the game also? Yep, if you want to save all 15 of the free tiles, get to tile 85, and just leap past everybody to the finish, more than welcome to do that. What, if anything, can we alt? Great question. There is a mention in the, or there was a mention in the bingo survey, but I'll call it out again here. If we catch you using boosting methods like purchasing a pay-to-raid method, whether that be mega scaling or leeching CAs or having some kind of login or remote desktop service to complete a tile, you will be disqualified. That is not negotiable.
You can use your
as far
alts to
as
tank for you and run supplies in God Wars, but you can't claim drops on your alts.
100%. You are more than welcome to do that. But if we see a screenshot of a holy elixir and there's 13 guys in Inquisitor with 1 spec transferring you in the back and healing you, and their names are something like Selling Corp or 60 Corp per hour, like, it's pretty obvious you're getting a boost. That is not okay. You're welcome to use your own alts. Like if you're an Iron, you can use your main account. If you need to do something like Demonics to tank Demonics, that's totally cool. And on this one, just be smart.
He's muted again. Okay.
Hey,
Okay, you're still streaming. Nice one. I'll keep answering questions. That's fine. Okay. What, if anything, can we alt? Is the dice channel locked to captains and co-captains? That's been answered. If your team is pushed back from a faulty screen cap and you roll a tile you've already completed, will the previous drop still count? That is a really niche scenario. If we roll you back to the last tile that you completed, like, that tile is still done. You're just going to have to roll the dice again. Tile banking would be valid if a screenshot was found to be faulty, but the team would have to... yeah. Cool. I have screenshots set up, but can I also use something like Imgur screenshots as long as it's full screen? Yep, you can. We need captains to double check the Wise Old Man competition tomorrow morning. Please update all of your teammates after the competition has started. I'm going to do it for the whole clan, but just in case I have a senior brain moment or something like that, make sure that everybody on your team is updated so that their XP is tracked.
And likewise, if you're getting ready to do like a 7-hour bossing session, after like 3 or 4 KC, maybe like refresh your page, make sure that Wise Old Man is updating for you so that nothing funky comes in and you don't tell us 600 of my KC aren't showing up.
There's not a lot of KC tiles in on this go around, so this shouldn't be a huge deal. But particularly for the XP tile, for the region tile for XP, make sure that your XP is tracking. Can we mega scale if everyone is on my team? Yep, absolutely. Like, as long as you guys aren't paying for a boosting service, do whatever you want. So if you want to mega scale with half of your team and half of another team, and then use the chambers function, whatever, to scale up the number of alts in there, totally fine. Okay, I think we got through everybody's questions in here. Does anybody have any other last minute questions before we sign off for the event? Seeing catalyze typing. Can we do masses? Sure. Yeah, you can do masses. You can raid with whoever the fuck you want in the clan, not in the clan. Doesn't matter. As long as you're not paying for the raids, it's fine. The drop has to be in your name or in the name of somebody who's on your team. So if you do a KE4 mass and some rando gets a drop or a twisted kit, does not count for bingo. If you are in that raid and you get the drop or the twisted kit, absolutely counts.
A team CA, though, needs to be all within your team.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's captured in the documents. I didn't get to look at the final version for that.
Cool. Alright, any other last minute questions, guys? Thanks for coming and hanging out. If you guys have more questions come up, just put them in the bingo discussion channel or in your team's discussion channel and tag the bingo hosts. We know that there's a lot of moving parts to this event. There's a lot of things to keep track of. We're going to do our best to make sure that everybody's having fun the whole event. All your questions get answered. On that note, if you feel like your question is silly but you don't know the answer to it, don't sit there and guess. Just ask. It's okay. We released a shit ton of information, and we don't expect you guys to have it memorized. Just ask. We're happy to help. Alright, good luck. Bingo starts in 12 hours. So go get your last minute bingo prep done, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Good
luck, everybody.
How do we know who's my team leader, dude? I have no idea who my team leader is. I'm on team 3.
What team are you on?
I don't
3.
think they picked one.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have picked one yet. So you guys need to pick one. Yes, I will make. I'll make a team captain's role so that I can ping captains and co-captains specifically once everybody has that submitted.
I will dip now then.
Okay. Alright, I'll hang out for a couple more minutes if anybody has any other last minute questions.
Yeah, I'm back as well. Sorry, I got
It's no big deal, man.
someone came in and started talking my ear off, so couldn't really tell them to fuck off.
Where do we find the regional tile information?
Go to
Or
the
the-
tile validation document. There's 2 sheets. One has bingo tiles, one has regional tiles. Let me know if you can't find it, and I can screen cap it.
Oh, I see at the bottom. Thank you.
Cool.
I see that we all have, like, for example, I have Bingo Team 6 as one of my roles or tags, but I can't seem to ping that.
That's on purpose.
So if I wanted to, like, get the attention of everyone on my team, would all the admins be upset if I did an @ here in the let's say the Team 6 discussion.
Would not be upset at all because it doesn't work.
disabled-
Because we disabled those pings.
Because we don't like being upset.
Oh, okay.
I can make those team roles pingable. If there's a, let me think about that. Let me think about whether or not I want those to be pingable. I can see what you're saying, but I can also absolutely see that getting abused. And like, if people start turning off the bingo pings, we stop getting information out when we need information out. So yeah, let me think about that and poke me tomorrow if I haven't gotten back to you yet.
Okay.
Great. Anyone else with last minute questions?
If we get a drop that counts towards both a future tile or a region tile, or region accomplishment, can we choose which one we can use it towards as a bank drop?
Counts for
Better,
both.
You can double dip.
Yeah, counts for both.
Yep, you can double dip
counts
on
for
the
both,
regional
okay.
tasks.
Okay,
So if you're at Tob and you get a Scythe and a Vernic, you've just completed that tile and the regional task.
perfect. Cool.
You just can't double dip for the actual bingo tiles themselves. So that there's like 8 or 9 Zulrah unique tiles on the board. If you get a Magic Fang and you claim it for tile 4, you can't claim it for tile 50.
Makes sense.
Could I just ask like a reiteration on a question already asked?
Yeah, man.
So, just to clarify, even though the top tile is differently named, like two top purples and two top uniques, they can both be like, they can always be whatever, two Avernix or whatever?
I will go through and change the verbiage on that. I didn't think it was going to be confusing, but this is a thing that's been asked a couple of times. It's just because Maya started the document and I finished it.
Okay.
So I'll go through and adjust the verbiage on these tiles so that they're consistent.
Ben, well, I think what Gwen might also be asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you need to get two purples for the tile, you can get two Avernix. Yes, they do not need to be different purples.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
We know how much you guys love Justy, as much as we love getting rings.
Justy loves me, brother. I don't love it.
I'm also happy to stick around for a little bit. I know there's a lot of buzz and chatter. I'm also happy to answer any questions about like how did the board come to be, or like how do we do this one thing. Like, feel free to
the
ask.
team's drafted.
You can use the I'm part of this role and try to join groups and stuff. I think it's too late.
How long are you guys expecting this to go for?
10 days
Yeah,
max. It's hard capped at 10 days. I ran a bunch of sims. I did some, so I estimated the Iron Man EHB to complete all of the tiles, and then I programmed the bingo rules in Python and ran a Monte Carlo simulation. It worked out to be an average of like 3 or 4 EHB per day per team member to complete this board in 10 days. So you guys should, on rate, you guys should be easily completing this board.
That was the sexiest answer I was expecting.
I was gonna say the same thing. That's actually quite impressive. The guy actually pumped it into Python and spewed out actual sim numbers.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
we
nice.
it's so hard when we're making these boards and we're like, how long is it gonna take people to finish this? Like, because in previous bingos when it's like a 5x5 grid, like I want the winning team to have 24 tiles done at the end of the event, so it's kind of a nail biter all the way through. For this event, like, I wanted to make sure that if a team got screwed on like their dice rolls, there's still a reasonable like time to complete. I wanted to get an idea of the variance. This is going to be a higher variance bingo than prior bingos have been. Like, if your team rolls a bunch of ones like Nice One did in the test there, like, you guys are kind of just SOL. Like, you're going to have to do more tiles. But this whole board should be reasonably completable within the time frame that we've allotted here.
Quoting somebody on feedback from the last bingo, I won't name names. They mentioned that they really enjoyed that the bingo has high highs and low lows, or else it just becomes a competition of who gets the most EHB. Thank you for the inspiration to make this as wildly RNG focused as I possibly could, while still keeping it fun. I thought the element of the dice rolling, in addition to like how lucky you could or could not get in game, would be a really good or fun mechanic to play with.
sorry if this was answered already, but when you're using free tiles, do you have to use them before or after if you complete a tile? Like before you do a dice roll? Or can they be used in any order? Before or after the dice roll?
That's a really interesting question.
Sorry, repeat that one more time.
So let's say you complete a tile and you have free tiles banked that are eligible to be used. Do you have to dice roll first and before using tiles, or can you use free tiles then dice roll?
Dice roll, then tiles.
In that order specifically? Do you must have an incomplete tile you're on before you use free tiles?
Correct.
Yeah, I prefer it that way. You can't jump ahead because that dice roll would impact.
Well, there just becomes more strategy, more variance if you have it both ways. But yeah, it's good to have.
Yeah, no, I understand. That is a really good question. It's a really good thought.
If team captains haven't been solidified yet, how are the original teams drafted?
The DOs did most of the team building. We basically just for each round of the draft picked out the 8 strongest players or the 8 strongest pairs of players, and then assigned them, trying to keep in mind who's friends with who and whose time zones overlap. And then after the teams were done, we calculated the total EHB capped for each team, so we put a ceiling on it at 1,500 hours because Quinn and Moleg's team was going to be 4,000 hours ahead of the other teams otherwise. And then we moved people around within teams to try to even out the total EHB across all of the teams. So we're hoping, and we also tried to balance Ironman, like the number of irons per team as well. So we're reasonably confident that these teams should be people that you guys already like to game with and relatively evenly matched.
This may be a comment. I like the board. I like the design. It's different. It doesn't feel very much like a traditional bingo. It's kind of what I had envisioned last year's spin. You kind of heard it from me already.
Mm-hmm.
Of it almost kind of like the game of life, but not. Right? So shout out, nice one. It looks pretty sick. I'm looking forward to seeing what the results look like.
Squeak and I were talking earlier about how, like, so we run 2 bingos a year, and we've traditionally had our, like, birthday bingo, the one that's in July, be run by somebody who's, like, not run a bingo before and let them try kind of an experimental format. We had that with Pope and then Bob and now Nice One. And we learned some cool stuff about what things do and don't work when we experiment with the format. And then when we run the one in December, it tends to be a much more traditional, here's your 25 tiles, first one to clear the board, wins kind of thing. So we kind of keep a balance of trying new things, seeing what works and what doesn't, and then going back to the bread and butter, this shit always works format.
Would my team be disqualified if I put like a pipe bomb in Nice One's mailbox, and then when he went out to go check the mail?
That depends.
Don't you fucking talk shit about my boy.
How much did your team donate to me? I mean, if there's a big enough donation in my mailbox to go along with the pipe bomb, I can overlook it.
Okay. I understand.
Aren't you staying at your neighbor's house now? Gonna let him blow up your neighbor's house?
Exactly, it won't be my mailbox. So, in regards to the board, I did have a lot more complexity in there. Like, I wanted it to be a lot more involved, and then I kind of cut it back, realizing how much stuff it was going to be tracking, or like how difficult it would be to keep up with it. Like, if you're wondering why the tasks are broken down by region, but the reward is the same, they all used to do something different. Just for a little bit of lore, like originally I had it that, you know, certain teams could capture regions and nobody else could, and then like it boiled down to like there are tasks that you could do outside the tile you're on, you get rewarded for it. The reward's always the same. There's just the path of least resistance while still keeping it interesting. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. The admin team and some folks in the clan gave some really, really good feedback for me to get it to where I wanted it to be. So I'm really excited to see how this shakes out. I'm obviously nervous that people hate it, people complete it too quick, it sucks, people get in shitty spots, but you know, gonna be some casualties of war. Hopefully everybody has fun.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate all the effort you guys put into this on the admin backside of it.
Yeah, man. Just hope you guys
Yeah,
have
shout out
fun.
to the admins. I know it was a lot of work, like the channel setups and everything. We shout out to you guys for actually plugging it together and taking the time.
Oh man, every bingo I'm like, why? It's so much work.
Yeah, I can't
but
overstate
then everybody
how
has
much
so
work.
much fun, so it's worth it.
Exactly, yeah. I can't overstate how much work has been done by the admin team, like versus me. I mean, I've showed up and